Welcome to the ceremony to mark the International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie va débuter avec les chants des partisans. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Torbjörn Jagland, Secretary General of the Council of Europe. Mesdames et messieurs, Monsieur Torbjörn Jagland, Secrétaire Général du Conseil de l'Europe.
Ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago it was 75 years since the Wannsee Conference took place, the most horrible meeting in history, where they decided to exterminate a whole people and how to organize it. What was also horrifying was that the participants were well-educated people. We will forever struggle to understand how this could have happened. Nowadays, when there is so much hate speech and fake news, it's worth recalling what the author, an anti-Nazi Victor Klemperer, said about the Nazi language. He said, "Words can be small doses of arsenic. You swallow them without taking much note, but after a while they have a devastating influence." Step by step, the Nazis changed the everyday language, changed the meanings of the words, attacked the so-called Lügenpresse, distorted facts. This was the beginning that led to the Wannsee Conference and the Holocaust. Only a few days ago, a leader in the AfD party in Germany said, "Germany is the only country to put a memorial of shame in its capital." Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to do the opposite, to say the opposite. It is important that we understand what happened. That's why we have to remember all the victims. I'm very proud for the fact that we have the head of state of Cyprus, Mr. Anastasiadis, and the head of state of Romania, Mr. Iohannis, together with us today, and together, of course, with all the big victims of the Holocaust. Welcome to everybody. This is an important event for the Council of Europe that is defending the values of human rights and the rule of law on the entire continent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mr. Nikos Anastasiades, President of the Republic of Cyprus. Mesdames et Messieurs, Son Excellence Monsieur Nikos Anastasiades, Président de la République de Chypre.
Ladies and gentlemen, we stand today in commemoration of the victims of the Holocaust, those who perished during one of the continent's and indeed the world's darkest periods. People who were methodically and intentionally exterminated because of their personal attributes, because they did not conform to a parochial, social, ethnic and religious ideology at a time when extremism, intolerance and hate reigned in Europe. We honor the memory of the victims. We look to the past with the present's keen-sight. We never forget, so as not to allow such atrocities to occur in the future. Today, extremist rhetoric, racism and xenophobia are no longer knocking the Europe's door. They are here. We must remember our collective failures and achievements, the emergence of common European values, respect for democracy, the rule of law, and the protection of human rights. We must work together towards more inclusive and tolerant societies, guaranteeing the rights and liberties of our citizens and all those on the European continent. That would be the most appropriate and sincere commemoration for the millions of the Holocaust. We owe them the dignity and honor that their deaths were not in vain. Cyprus and Romania are organizing today an exhibition in commemoration of the Holocaust. The Cypriot exhibit depicts the work of Holocaust survivors who found themselves in Cyprus for a short period when fleeing post-war Europe in search of a new home. It is a testament of life flourishing even in the most dire circumstances, and of the comfort provided in friendship and an enduring faith in humanity. I would like this call for respect and unity in diversity to be my clear message in paying tribute to the victims of the Holocaust. May we remember them. May the Europe that has been built on their ashes never lose sight of their sacrifice and never allow such disastrous times again. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mr. Klaus Werner Iohannis, President of Romania. Mesdames et Messieurs, Son Excellence Monsieur Klaus Werner Iohannis, Président de la Roumanie.
Mr. Secretary General, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we are all here today to pay our humble tribute to all victims of the Holocaust. We bow our heads before this unprecedented tragedy that each of them experienced individually, but which has impacted the whole humankind. January 27th, the day when 72 years ago the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camps were liberated, became one of the saddest reminders in the history of humanity. It also represents the beginning of hope for those who, on January 27, 1945, were still alive. We are very fortunate to still have some of them among us. These survivors remind us all about the need to never forget the mistakes of the past. It is a day which carries along a double meaning and responsibility. One goes backwards and claims our moral duty to remember and acknowledge the suffering of those massacred. The other one is forward-looking and prompts us to educate the future generations about the abominable crimes of the Holocaust. It is therefore our duty to keep alive the memory of the so many victims of this unspeakable evil. Until March this year, Romania is chairing International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, an organization which embodies the very essence of the quest to discover what happened more than 70 years ago, to learn and make it never happen again. Holocaust remembrance is one of the main lines of actions pursued by Romania in chairing this organization, along with Holocaust education, research, and engagement with younger generations via social media. Dear Secretary General, the Alliance has a Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Council of Europe. This bears significance for both organizations. I'm confident that in 2017, the Council of Europe and the Alliance can create a flagship program seeking to train civil servants in combating Holocaust denial or anti-Semitism. Romania, particularly while holding the chairmanship of the Alliance, stands ready to promote further the working definition on anti-Semitism, newly adopted last year in Bucharest, and to take part in this pilot project. Also, there is a special dimension within the Alliance which complements the activities of the Council of Europe, remembering and educating about the atrocities suffered by the Roma population in Europe through World War II. Romania has put a special emphasis on this aspect during its chairmanship. It is my belief that Holocaust education should not be taught exclusively in classrooms. Today, we are proud to open a photographic and documentary exhibition sharing our achievements. It is symbolic that it is displayed here, a place where European nations have first come together in their pledge to never repeat the horrors of the World War II, the Council of Europe. I would like to invite you all to visit this exhibition in the foyer of the Committee of Ministers, where you can learn more about Romania's commitment in honoring the memory of the Holocaust victims, as well as about certain creative means to educate new generations so that never again we witness such atrocities. Remembering the darkest pages of our history by presenting facts unaltered is how we decided, for instance, to commemorate the 75 years since the Iași pogrom. The abominable acts committed by the regime of that time are still an open wound in our society. As a proof of this long-standing commitment, the authorities of my country have started the demarches to establish a museum of the history of the Jews in Romania in Bucharest. This exhibition also illustrates the stories of Romanian citizens who have helped their Jewish neighbors, friends, or even unknown persons escape persecution and deportation. Years later, their role has been praised by the Yad Vashem in Jerusalem with the title of Righteous Among Nations. It is our permanent duty for all of us, as we have done here today, to take a firm stance and to admit the mistakes of the past, as well as to honor the memory of those who have innocently perished. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mr. Kamel Shama Hakohen, Ambassador of Israel to international institutions in France. Mesdames et Messieurs, Son Excellence Monsieur Kamel Shama Hakohen, Ambassadeur d'Israël auprès des institutions internationales en France.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Cyprus, Your Excellency, President of Romania, Mr. Secretary General, Mr. President of the Parliamentary Assembly, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. In the past 7 decades, a lot has been done in order to tell the story and to teach the lessons of the Shoah. It has been done through various platforms all over the world. But unfortunately, 72 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, anti-Semitism did not disappear. It is alive, creative, and poisonous. Jewish communities are increasingly living in fear. We see anti-Semitism acts directed against individual Jews, communities, and against Israel as a Jewish state. One of the lessons from the past is to recognize that anti-Semitism does not take place on its own. It's a stately process which keeps alive and grows if racism, xenophobia, and hatred are not checked and prevented. Israel, as the homeland of the Jews and as a Jewish state, is committed to fight anti-Semitism and to cooperate with all those who are in the front of this fight. The Council of Europe and the Parliamentary Assembly are among the important supporters of fighting against anti-Semitism in Europe. With the wonderful work of ECRI, anti-Semitism is being monitored, targeted, and fought all over Europe. But more should be done, since anti-Semitism is not merely a problem of the Jews. It is a universal disease. It is a sort of racism, intolerance, and xenophobia, and is rooted in all levels of society. Anti-Semitism has no education singularity, spatial, financial status, or age limit. Not for anti-Semites, nor for their victims. Modern life presents us with new forms of anti-Semitism. As internet usage expands globally, it opens the doors for the cybercrime, and last year Israel ratified the Council of Europe Convention on Cybercrime and joined the Council of Europe member states on their fight against the hate crime committed through the internet. Allow me also to commend the Council of Europe No Hate speech movement, which invite internet users to express zero tolerance towards anti-Semitic hate speeches and recommended them to speak up against it. Efforts should be made towards refugees who have fled to Europe in the past years. We should think about creative ways to make Holocaust education more relatable to them. I would like to conclude with the words of Elie Wiesel. Remember the past and transform the future. This is our challenge in order to ensure the future and our common values. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Miranda Volas-Ranta, President of the European Roma and Travelers Forum. Mesdames et Messieurs, Madame Miranda Volas-Ranta, Présidente du Forum européen des Roms et des gens de voyage.
Dear Excellencies, dear Ambassadors, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Today we are commemorating the liberation of the survivors of the Auschwitz concentration camp, the victory of humanity over barbarity, and paying tribute to the victims of the genocide, of all those that did not fit the pattern of National Socialism, Jews, Roma, witnesses of Jehovah, homosexuals, disabled and political opponents. We thought then that this liberation had not only freed the survivors, but also the spirit of fraternity. We thought it was a bad dream which would never happen again. We were wrong. 70 years later, extremist and racist movements are reshaping the European political landscape and putting to the test the spirit of fraternity and equality which we believed had been instilled in us for good. We Roma did not have to wait 70 years to realize that nothing had changed. As from the day one, the Roma throughout Europe continued to be marginalized, despised and rejected. That rejection never stopped. Today, 70 years later, the Roma are regularly evicted from their homes, their children put in segregated schools, their settlements deprived of water and electricity, and repeatedly insulted, humiliated and denigrated. Past years' terror attacks against Jews in the European capitals and hate crimes against Roma villages and individual Roma people are a serious warning signal. The events of Paris and Brussels, the growing movement of Roma migration and search for asylum, and the recent anti-Israel stances are proof of the frightening shortness of the historical memory of humanity. The slogan, "Never Again," we've kept repeating for the past 70 years, has still not convinced everyone. Today's ceremony reminds us of the past, but what about the future? 67 years ago, the Council of Europe was set up to build a new Europe based on respect of human rights. No one can contest the achievements of the Council of Europe in the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms. But the dark shadows of racism and nationalism are sweeping over Europe again. Are our European leaders committed to resist the attacks? Are they committed to ensure a Europe free from hatred and racism, where every individual, whatever his or her ethnicity, color, religion or way of life, lives in peace and freedom? The Parliament of Romania and the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance and the Finnish Ministry of Foreign Affairs organized the Forgotten Voices Conference in Romania. I invite each of you, and in particular the member states of the Council of Europe, to make the most of the guideline recommendations which were an outcome of that conference and put in practice the suggestions listed in that document. Dear friends, let this ceremony be a wake-up call to all concerned. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the prayer for the dead. Mesdames et messieurs, la prière pour les morts.
כנפי השכינות במעלת קדושים וטהורים זוהר רקיע מאירים אס נשמת אחינו ואחיותינו שנפלו ושנשרפו ושנקברו חיים במחנות מוות, אושוויץ, דכאו, טרבלינקה, מיידנק, שטרוטהוף ושאר מחנות מוות. בעבור שאנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתם לכן בעל הוראה יסתירם בססר כנפיו לעולמות ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמוסם בגן וינוחו על משכבם בשלום ונאמר
Ladies and gentlemen, the personalities will now proceed to the laying of wreaths. Mesdames et messieurs, les personnalités vont procéder au dépôt des gerbes. Mr. Jackland and Mr. Agramoun will lay a wreath in front of a commemorative stone. Mr. Jackland et Mr. Agramoun vont déposer une gerbe devant la stèle commémorative. His Excellency Mr. Anastasiades and His Excellency Mr. Ioannis will now lay a wreath in front of a commemorative stone. Son Excellence Mr. Anastasiades et Son Excellence Mr. Ioannis vont à présent déposer une gerbe devant la stèle commémorative. Ambassador Shama HaKohen, Madame Wallace Ranta, and Mr. Ebha will now lay a wreath in front of a commemorative stone. Monsieur l'ambassadeur Shama HaKohen, Madame Wallace Ranta et Monsieur Ebha vont déposer à présent une gerbe devant la stèle commémorative.